In this country and in many countries around the world, the military is a major player in terms of environmental outcomes.
Sometimes we think that it's easier to make war than to work to prevent it or to clean up after it.
Did anybody hear me?
We actually replicate nature on our clothes.
Our goal with Mossy Oak duck blind was the same it is with all of our patterns, to make the most effective camouflage possible. And what we've done is selected elements that are uniquely different, but yet that are in the food chain all the way from north to south.
We went from coast to coast, Canada to Mexico, and really looked at the different components that is consistent amongst waterfowlers.
We took great pains in selecting elements that were recognizable not only to the waterfowl, but to the waterfowl hunters, trying to establish a pattern that looks exactly like where they're hunting. We started out with a ground background that flows from wet to dark appearances, and then we overlaid it with elements that are food sources, but also just grasses and natural elements that are out there.
So by adding in all of those elements, from corn to Phragmites, to millet, to Johnson grass, and so on, we've developed a pattern that is easily recognizable in many flyways.
You don't have to go out and build your duck blind anymore. You've got it on. It's a pattern that says what it is.
When Beth was 4, we noticed that she would start to have like seizure-type activity. We were 4.5 years, different neurologists, different hospitals, 2 or 3 different states, 4.5 years of different anti-seizure medications, a whole assortment of drugs, trial and errors.
At one point she was on 21 pills a day, and my husband and I looked at one another and said, "This is ridiculous."
Finally, when Elizabeth was about 10 years old, they put her in the hospital and monitored every one of her body functions. She experienced one of these episodes that we were seeing, and talking with our pediatrician about it, he referred us to Roger Ruckman at Children's Hospital.
Left ventricle cross-section, which shows that they were doing an EEG to try to evaluate brain function. They noticed on the monitoring that her heart rate slowed significantly, and she had a long pause, in fact, a 16-second pause during that time. Obviously, it was hard for the family to go through so many years with this worry about a major seizure disorder, and which really wasn't the case. Clearly, she was having a significant cardiovascular problem.
As a global leader working in international public health, FHI will draw on its partners the world's foremost authorities in AIDS. Among them, government and non-governmental organizations, private foundations, UN agencies, and research institutions. Every sector of public health will contribute expertise and access to the latest evidence-based research and information. Media support will include news releases and videos about the state of the pandemic. What have we achieved in 25 years? What more needs to be done? And what does the future hold?
Don't lose hope.